That was that was because of the time periods in between the songwriting and
yeah, and I
recording.
think there was a lot of internal things going on with the band at the time. You know, I lost a grandfather. The band had lost a really good friend, you know, to everybody in the band, and he had been killed on a motorcycle, and everybody was really kind of going through their own grieving process with that, and then we got involved with a family that had, you know, had lost their son in Iraq, and we had, you know, you know, used parts of his Last Letter Home in a song that we wrote called The Last Letter Home, about correspondences between men and women in the front lines and their families, and you know, and in doing all that, I think there was a lot of sadness involved with Warriors Code, where I think with Meanest of Times, it's a much more uplifting record. It's much more of a celebration of life and the whole process of life, as opposed to, you know, being downtrodden.
Was it hard? One question about the well, the soldier that was killed in Iraq. Was it hard? Of course it was hard, but was it something you needed to do because of the song already being written?
Well, the song we were working on the song as we got the email from his mother. That was what was interesting about it.
But I think he wrote in his letter, he wrote that he would like to read.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, that was what was so kind of poignant about the whole thing. It was that, you know, here was this song that we were working on in general, correspondences between families and men and women on the front lines, and then we get this email from this mother in Massachusetts whose son has just been killed on his birthday, and his last letter home, he says, you know, if anything happens to me, I want the song "The Fields of Athenry" to be played at my funeral by the Dropkick Murphys, and you know, so we end up using excerpts from his letter directly in the song, and we ended up playing "Fields of Athenry" at his funeral, and you know, we ended up actually releasing a CD that was for sale only at our shows, and through our website, that the money went to his family and to his wife and his surviving children, and so you know, that whole experience kind of it was a great honor and privilege to be able to be let into such a private moment with a family, but at the same time it was a lot of, it was very sad, you know what I mean? It was just I mean, we didn't know them, and we got to know them. They've come to our shows now since then and stuff, but I mean, it's a pretty sad thing when parents survive their children, yeah, no matter how old they are, how they're you know, killed or how they die, and so I mean, me being I was a father already then, and being a father now, I mean, you put yourself in those kinds of shoes, and you know, I only have a 3.5-year-old. He's not going off to fight any wars, but you know, he could someday, and you know, you think about that. You think about how horrible that is, and I've lost since, you know, as I get older, you start losing friends, and I've lost several friends, you know, from my childhood, and you know, you think about, I mean, I've been being at their funerals and seeing what the parents go through losing a child, you know, and it's heartbreaking, you know what I mean? So it was a very emotional time for us, for sure. And
when did you start in writing this new album?
We started writing the new record probably, you know, some of the earliest songs, like State of Massachusetts, was probably written, you know, 9 months ago, you know what I mean? And we started performing it, you know, probably like, you know, as early as 5 months ago. We were already performing that song live, and there was a couple other songs that we recorded for the record that we were already kind of, you know, had in the pocket, as it were. But the majority of the songs were, you know, pretty much all written, like I'd say, in the last, you know, 5 or 6 months, the music and lyrics, you know, so.